Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. If you join me every week, I always say the same thing, but I do think it is so very cool that regardless of where we are in the world today or what time zone we are in, we can all come together in one place at one time and have amazing conversations. So I want to welcome everyone to today's episode of Blue TV, where we are really going to be talking about the future of leadership. We have an amazing guest with us, but before we get to her and have her do her own introduction, I want to just make sure that first, I welcome all of those yet again out there that are joining us today. We have quite a few that join regularly. We also have quite a few that are lurking in the background. For those of you that are watching live, though, please be sure to let us know where you're located. We're going to ask Jenny in a second. I think everyone knows I'm in Houston, but let us know where you are located so we can acknowledge. If you are on Team Replay, just let us know with the hashtag Team Replay so that we can come back and have amazing conversation, and definitely let us know where you're replaying from as well. In the meantime, again, before we get to Jenny, I want to thank also our sponsors. So if you don't know already and you need help with all things marketing, our marketing sponsor is Market Me More. Whether you are looking to stand on a live stage, whether you want to do live streaming like this, podcasting, anything you might need to support those efforts, along with just anything else that is marketing related, collateral, messaging, etc. Market Me More is your go-to. As the sales consultant, coach, fractional leader, I own Cellevators. Cellevators is a sponsor of this show as well. Anything sales related, that's Cellevators. And then Top Voices Unite. If you're not familiar, they are a group of individuals who are truly making an impact. So whether you want to as well figure out how you might be able to make an impact, or you want to engage with those that are making an impact, Top Voices Unite is your place to go. So super excited to be here today. As I think everyone knows, but if this is your first time, Blue TV is Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, with our goal being, when we have a guest, to get to know our guest. When we are solo, it's really just, and in both instances, after we get to know our guest, it's really how do we take practical tips and next steps so that we too can elevate our game here on LinkedIn. Myself, our guests have all been top voices, and we have done something right. And our goal is to share what we've learned so that you too can also see amazing success here. So all of that to say, excited that you're here. We had Mamie out there. We had Gino. So Gino is a regular. So thank you for those that are chiming in already. Melanie's out there. Jenny, if you wouldn't mind, because I would not at all, and Mamie, I hope I pronounced your name right. Jenny, I would not at all do you any service by doing the introduction for you. So I'd love it if you would both introduce yourself and tell us where you're located.
Yes, no, thank you so much. I'm, again, very excited and grateful to be here. And as you mentioned, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I'm very much a global leader. So I know that time zone differences, separate us, but still unite us, right? We can still connect.
Yes.
So again, my name is Jenny Fernandez. I am a leadership and development consultant and executive coach. And I have really created what I call as a portfolio career. I'm somebody that has over 20 years of experience in the marketing world, having been an executive and CMO in the food industry, and mostly here in the US, but I also got to live and work in Asia Pacific when I was overseeing the Oreo brand in Asia Pac a million years ago. But it was a fantastic experience, really contributed to the way I became a leader, the way I coach, and how I approach relationships. But basically what I do today is that I partner with senior leaders and their teams to become more adaptable, effective, and resilient. And that is because we're going through so much transformation, navigating large-scale organizational changes, building effective teams, and accelerating AI adoption. That's one thing that is kind of keen to what I do and what I'm focusing on. And with that, I'll just say that I'm very active on LinkedIn, obviously through these fantastic LinkedIn Live opportunities, that Denise mentioned, and also because I contribute to different publications. I write for Fast Company, Harvard Business Review. I'm a TEDx speaker. And, if you want to follow me, I have a Substack newsletter where I create a lot of content just like what we're doing here today. And you can download my free branding ebook there as well.
Well, Jenny, that was a lot. So I want to summarize by saying you are a powerhouse of a woman. So thank you for joining us today. And I'm excited. We really, as we are ending 2025, and as we've seen this AI revolution that has really taken on, I mean, we know it started much before even 2025, but we know it's accelerating and it's going to continue to accelerate. We're now really encroaching 2026. And our goal in the first half of this really is to understand what does leadership maybe look like in 2026. But before we get there, there are so many different little buckets of info you drop there that we could go down. But I do want to ask you just regarding Asia Pac. You said you learned a lot from being there in Asia Pac, but what do you think is probably your number one takeaway after having lived in that part of the world in a different culture? What do you think that is attributed to how you lead and how you coach leadership? What do you think is the number one takeaway from that experience?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I would say just being curious, right? Because we bring so many assumptions, so many things from our own lived experiences and work experiences that we obviously may not understand the person sitting across from us. And that's something that I translate, to my work as a coach, to my work helping others be more effective and really elevate their personal mastery and self-awareness. It's just being curious. Ask questions. We don't know all the answers. And that's okay, especially when it comes to the future of work with AI. We're all beginners.
Agreed. I love that you say that because that is really what my sales coaching methodology is built around. It is about actively listen. And interestingly enough, I just even had this conversation this morning that I think we prevent ourselves from really seeing. Now, there are multiple reasons why I think people sabotage themselves from seeing true success. And mind you, success is defined differently by everyone, right? But I do believe some of the things that prevents us from seeing our own success is that we don't really take the time to listen, not to listen to respond, but listen to be heard, right? I mean, to hear, really truly hear someone. And when we take the time to do that, it is so much more impactful to the person that we're engaging with, but also for ourselves. I mean, it opens so many doors even for us and allows us to even accelerate what we're doing because we're truly understanding what we're trying to accomplish.
Oh my gosh, 100%, right? Whether you are a small business owner talking to a client or you are navigating the corporate space, it's about understanding, right, the person in front of you. What are their needs? What are their incentives? How can you influence them, right? So for you to be able to drive change and to further your own goals, you are trying to have others, right, contribute to your projects, contribute to your business. And some of the books that I'll advise folks who are listening to us that they might want to check out. I'm a big fan of Robert Cialdini. He's a professor, I believe, at Case Western. He wrote the book Influence, and he talks about the 6 powers of influence, the 6 weapons of influence, as he calls it. Right? And all these weapons, whether it's social proof, reciprocity, it's about understanding what the other person needs in order to shift, in order to act in the way that, right, that benefits you and obviously that benefits them. Because one key question that I always get from people, Jenny, isn't influencing the same or reciprocity the same as manipulation? And I'm like, absolutely not. Because in manipulation, only one person benefits. Correct. When you are building a relationship, you're looking to elevate both people. Yes. And that's why, as you mentioned, Denise, active listening, asking questions, all you're doing is empowering yourself with information so that you can better give value to the person in front of you so that you can also get value back.
And I love, because I talk about this all the time, which by the way, I am not the owner of this. This is really what I learned from Corey Warfield. So if you don't know Corey, those of you that are listening, be sure to go check him out. But this law of reciprocity, right? You've mentioned reciprocity, right? It is what you do unto others, you get back in return, right? And while it may not be an exact mirror, so Jenny and I may say or do something with Jenny and expect the law of reciprocity to come back directly from Jenny. It may not happen with Jenny necessarily. It may happen down the road, even a week, 2 weeks, a year later, and it may be with a completely different person and in a different way. But the law of reciprocity does truly exist, in my opinion. And I learned that and have seen it and experienced it myself from Corey Warfield.
Yeah, no, 100%. And part of that is because you're projecting that. Other people are watching. Yes. So when you're, Adam Grant talks about building relationships in his book, Give and Take, right? If you are looking to be, we're not looking to be Mother Teresa, so we don't have to be all givers, but we have to be matchers. But if you're looking to give value to others, other people are watching and they're judging you, and they're basically creating a first impression that you're a person who is willing to contribute. Right. Yes. And they want to contribute back to you, because it is about building people who mirror us and mirror our values. So that's why I 100% agree with you, Denise, that even though the value may not be coming back from that specific person that you helped, other people are watching and are going to be looking out for you when you do need the help.
Yeah, which I think, even if this is going to be a great segue into the topic around leadership, because even if we're not a leader in an organization or we're leading a specific effort, we as individuals are leaders every day who do make an impact, whether we realize it or not. Sometimes it's directly and sometimes it's indirectly, but we are leaders all in our own right, even without a leadership designation. Would you agree with that, Jenny?
100%. This is something that a lot of people are confronted with, because I feel many of us may experience imposter syndrome from time to time. And we may say, well, I'm not a leader, or I don't even want to be a leader. I don't want extra responsibility. But frankly, being a leader is not the title, as you said. Being a leader is just stepping up where there's a vacuum, where there is a need. And I think all of us need to feel more empowered, because we all have gifts, right? All of it, whether it's the skills that we bring, lived experiences that we've had, whatever it is, we have something to give and value to give. And I think that's what, as we look into the future for, the future of work, we have to understand what is our value. How can I transfer those skills so that I can continue to be relevant and reinvent myself, right? I feel like that's something that people don't realize, that it's kind of, we're just connecting the dots, between the values that we have, the skills that we have, the knowledge that we bring, and how we can potentially package that in a different way. Since I'm a marketer, I package that and position it as a way of growth.
Yes. And for those of you watching, I'm sorry, my internet is, I guess, a bit wonky. So I just froze for a second. But if that happens, you can still hear me. I am out here. So thank you for being patient, Jenny. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack just in that, in those comments that you just had. I mean, if we think about the leadership in the future of work, right? Well, first off, in order to be a good leader, we do have to adapt, especially with all of the new technologies like AI that we have and the new things that we're being faced with as we embark now in 2026. What do you think? What are you coaching most of your leaders to really, how are you helping them shift a bit to understand that we're going to have to continue to evolve as leaders, especially with all these AI technologies? How are you coaching them to do that? What are some of the things that you're leaving with those leadership individuals that might help the person who's out there listening today?
Yeah, no, 100%. That's a, like, sometimes people say the struggle is real, and it is real, because we're facing every day.
It's real.
The challenge with this transformation, Denise, is that the speed at which it's happening, it's just something that we're not used to.
Correct.
The last big transformation that I think most of us face, ex the pandemic, was really technology-based, was the digital transformation, right? Mm-hmm. Back in the 2010s, when social media was picking up, digital marketing and a whole new of entrepreneurs and small businesses were created. But that took decades.
It did. It was not overnight.
You had
No.
opportunity. If you wanted to go back to business school, you could have done it. If you wanted to get 2, 3 jobs to get experience on the job, that was no problem. Now, I mean, ChatGPT changed the world a year ago. And every 6 months, not even 6 months, every 2 months, there is a new version. So I think, depending on who I'm speaking with, if it's a people manager, the biggest challenges they have is basically helping their teams shift so that they can use technology in their workflows in their everyday. And part of that, Denise, is that actually I'm doing my dissertation. I'm a doctorate student as well at the University of Southern California.
Okay.
And my dissertation is going to be.
I mean, again, powerhouse woman. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I have a lot of balls in the air.
Yes, you do.
Part of my dissertation is going to be interviewing C-level leaders so that I can understand what are the conditions that we need to put in place to be successful. So
Yeah.
whether it is the right structure, incentives, right, the mandate. One of the challenges that people come to me with, they're like, Jenny, I have provided the tools, the enterprise level AI. I have given them the mandate to go do it, but the teams, the individuals are not shifting. They're not doing it. And part of the challenge is that's not enough, right?
Yeah.
What is preventing us is mindset first, right? So what is getting in the way, right? That level of understanding, it's almost like you need coaching to double click and understand what is behind that. Fear that you may be training.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, because now you are, in my mind, and even in conversations so this has been validated as well. The fear is because they feel as though they are going to be displaced. And so they just don't want to even engage with new technologies because there's fear that if they don't, because they're going to be less relevant. But what they don't understand is, and you tell me if I'm wrong, I think what they don't understand is that they've got to embrace it and find ways to leverage it in a way that gives them an advantage over everyone else. That's going to provide relevancy, not that you just don't touch it, right?
100%. So if you're a leader out there and, your organization is looking to, adopt AI, accelerate AI, embracing it is the right, as you mentioned, is the right thing to do. And frankly, that doesn't mean that you may have a job at the end of the year, the 2 years, that same company. There's no promises that can be made, but you will have the skills.
Yes.
You can take those skills, the professional experience, the stories, the problems you have solved, and that will be how you get to the next level, get to the next company, the next gig. So I'm a professor as well. So I'm a big fan of always educating yourself. It doesn't have to be formal training, but it has to be, actionable. You have to, if you have the opportunity to learn on the job, do it. If you have the opportunity to take certificates, take them. I mean, even LinkedIn Learning has amazing courses on AI, which is available to all of us. So I would say sign up. Coursera. You have to make sure that you are integrating that skill set into your resume and into your profile so that companies are going to be willing to hire you, advance you, bring you in as a consultant to help, them if you're a business owner. So this is what we need to do and just let go of that fear.
Agreed. I always say, so look, my background in AI was I'm a legacy sales professional, like through and through. That has been my space, but I sold AI technologies. And the difference between myself and other sales reps was that I actually understood the technology that we were selling. So I really developed this passion for AI and new technologies because I knew what it could do. And I love AI. That is part of my business model, is helping organizations to adopt AI in the sales process. but that's a very small portion. The other portion, the majority of the portion is really about how do we now then inject the human back into it. Let's leverage AI, but let's make sure we retain the human element in all that we're doing. And I think that's really the fear that most people have is when they're going so there are two, I think there are three issues at hand when they're adopting technologies, and as a leader that you should be questioning, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the first is you got to solve to why they don't want to adopt it, and one of them is fear. The other is, I think in my mind, is that is it just fear, but they're afraid that it'll be all of AI and less of the human. So we just got to show them how to do both effectively. And then I think the third issue in my mind, and that I've also had conversation with, is that outside of now I lost my train of thought. What was it? There was another reason. Dadgummit, I'm going to have to come back to it.
But come back. If I may add to your point, 100%, fear is one of the big derailers.
Yeah,
I love what you said next, which is that kind of how you integrate AI into the team, because there's a co-creation, a collaboration. Yes. AI is your newest team member.
Correct. Yes.
Bring them on board. Help them integrate you into your team. What are the ways of working? How do you help AI so that it's not hallucinating?
Yep. Oh, I know now what my third point was. Oh, I have to share this now before I forget. My third point was that we also, as leaders, and what I've seen over and over is we introduce these new technologies, but we don't train them. We don't train the teams how to leverage them effectively. And then we have adopted so many tools that while we've tried to buy them for a specific problem to solve, they have ancillary or additional functionality. And so now we've got multiple tools that are overlapping one another, and they don't know which tool. So not only are they not being trained on how to use it effectively, they don't actually know which one to use. So you've got this fear, you're concerned that you'll lose the human element, and then you're not really comfortable with how to leverage it effectively or even which solution to actually leverage.
100%. The way that I have been kind of addressing that last part is in my side of the world, in the marketing side, and working as a coach, is that as use cases. People tell them, here's a tool, solve the world's problems. When you give somebody such a big challenge, they don't know where to start. Mm-hmm. But if you provide them smaller use cases, as you mentioned, clarify, here's the parameters, here how AI will integrate to other tools, legacy tools that we have, or here's what it's going to replace. Basically, people need direction. They need parameters. They need use cases, best practices, all those different things so that they know, the cues that I'm getting is that it is okay to use it. I have the right tools. They're giving me the use cases. And there's the right incentives, because people don't want to, they're afraid, I think, to lose attribution. Like, are they going to think that AI did all my work and I'm irreplaceable?
So what would you define maybe then, because I love this part, and I have not been talking about incentives, but how do we incentivize as leaders? How do we incentivize people, especially around new technologies and AI? Look, there are ways to incentivize just work ethic in general. That we've been doing that for years, or should be doing that, right? But how do you incentivize someone, and what are the conversations that you're having? How do we incentivize our people today to actually leverage those technologies?
Yeah, no, that's great question. So I think that there are several ways. One, as a people manager or a leader hiring the organization, part of the incentives, or frankly, part of the structure that you have to use is, one, you have to model the behavior. You yourself should be utilizing AI, should be speaking about it, right? Show them, people mirror behavior. If you're not using it, nobody's going to use it.
Right.
Second, obviously, the easiest things are give recognition, right? Whether it is monetary bonus, whether it is promotions, new titles, integrate that into the structure so that people know that having AI in your internal resume is actually a way to progress in the organization, right? I think other ones are highlighting this in whatever internal platforms you have, whether it's newsletters, right, podcasts like this. Many companies have their own internal podcasts. Bring in the person who is utilizing it, give them additional responsibilities. One client that I'm working with, they're doing AI office hours, where internal people can become AI coaches, so that they are
I love that.
becoming an expert. So not
Yeah.
only are they getting skills and being recognized, they are being positioned for future growth because they are being elevated.
Love.
So that can be done without monetary incentives. So it's all about, again, leveraging what's available to you to help signal to the workforce, to your team, that this is a positive.
I also think just just kind of brainstorming as you're talking, one of the thoughts that I have too is, I do see fear on the other spectrum, like from a leadership perspective, giving opportunities to elevate what your workforce is doing. There's a fear that they'll go away. You'll invest in them so much that that employee will now go away and go find a new, better job somewhere, right? But I do think if we show an effort, so instead of just educating or enabling them on the solutions that we're purchasing, maybe or implementing, maybe just putting even AI, giving them AI learning opportunities that are not specific to the tools that they're adopting, but more specifically just more generalized, so that you are elevating them, recognizing that, look, it has nothing to do with the company or the tools that you're using, but we want you to be educated on AI, but paying for those opportunities to provide programs that will in a more round way educate them on overall AI. I think that would be a great incentive too.
Yeah, no, 100%. And while, as you mentioned, yes, like with every other training and professional development, we don't, we have contracts, right? So you can leave, the person's not tied to the company. But obviously, if you're a great employer, if you're developing your people, if you're building relationships with them, that's how you incentivize them to stay. Usually people stay because they have great managers. McKinsey has done research that says that people managers have 70% of the impact on employee engagement. So can you imagine that? If you're a manager who cares for their people, who guides them, who provides clarity, who gives them visibility, and obviously who speaks on their behalf when opportunities are available, that's what people want. It's not just monetary incentive. So I think that this is an investment that the companies should do, because if they wait, then they're going to fall behind, right? Right now, I feel all of the companies are in a race to just catch up on productivity, on efficiency, and that just means reduction, layoffs, right? Investing less on their people, cutting back on cost, not buying, and delaying purchases. And that's not the way to grow a company, right? That is going to be a short-lived boost into your stock, or if you're a large enough company that is public. But in the long run, it's about innovation. Innovation means investing on your people, getting the right agencies to work with you, getting coaches to develop your top performers, and giving them the time, right, and the independence and autonomy to flourish.
I love that, because you define innovation the same way I do. Innovation is not tied to just technology. Innovation is how we change the way we guide, lead, how we implement new strategies. It's anything that's thinking outside the box, that's doing something different to advance. That's innovation in my mind, which doesn't always apply to technology. So I love that you agreed with that. Jenny, there was a question. Melanie had a question regarding, if you think about some of the leadership habits that we have adopted today, what do you think of those? What do you think the ones that will be the most obsolete in 3 to 5 years because of AI will be?
Oh, it's funny. They will be more obsolete. So let me start with the flip of that.
Okay.
So the World Economic Forum has identified what are the top 10 skills that we need to have for the next 5 years. And they refresh this every year. And honestly, it's just a shift on the top 10, but the top 10 kind of remain the same. And Denise, one of the things that will shock people, the audience, is that most of them are soft skills. Yes, you will find AI fluency, you will find LLMs, etc. there. Most of them are resilience, adaptability, people management, and relationship building,
Yeah.
right? All the things that make us human. Because at the end of the day, AI and technology will continue to advance, but we need to help people move faster than they have ever before.
Oh,
And
I mean,
changing is not easy, right?
we
Most
could
people
have an
don't have it.
entire, Jenny, we could have an entire talk track. We could spend an hour, probably even two or three, in discussing the value of humans today and where we really need to spend more focus, because we are the differentiator.
Yeah, yes.
We are.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, we could spend a lot of time. So Gino says whenever new tools come along, AI, entire new industries in selling the tools, managing the tools, and training to use these tools are created. Yes, for every job that will be obsolete because of the introduction of these new technologies, there will be more jobs in place of to support those new technologies. It's a fair statement. Yes.
Yes, well said, And just to go back to Melanie's question, I guess the way that I would look at is people have to self-assess and look at their own kind of professional experience and say, is the job that I have today more kind of hardcore skill focus? Like, for example, when I was in college and I grew up, if you wanted to be a coder, computer science, or engineer, you wanted to code on C++ and all of these things that are obsolete right now, right? As somebody who came from marketing, marketing is one of the biggest or the first professions that is going to hit with AI. And the reason for that, we have a lot of data, which is great. But now AI can read our data. AI can connect the dots and analyze it and create the draft story that a manager can review. So they may not need the analyst or the entry-level jobs getting the data, putting the legacy systems, addressing all of those little things that we all learned how to do when we started our careers. So self-assess and look at your career and your skills and look, if you are focused on a hardcore skill that may no longer be relevant, you have to start focusing on developing your soft skills so that you are able to transfer the soft skills regardless of what the technology is. The one thing that I think everybody needs to double on is problem solving and critical thinking. The way that we are going to be relevant is showing recruiters, hiring managers, that we are able to solve problems. It doesn't matter what the problem is, it doesn't matter what the technology is. You should be able to tell a story that speaks to the transferable skills that will help you have critical thinking, show that you're not afraid of data and technology, and that you're able to connect the dots. So you're going to be adaptable regardless of the technology.
And the only way to solve a problem or to critically think about how to solve that problem is to be curious. So ask questions and really actively listen. Those are the only ways you're going to get that you're going to be able to achieve either of those two.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So we're starting to wind down here a bit. I'd like to shift a little. I always say, and I think this applies to leadership, I always say that those of us who are here on LinkedIn are trying to always sell something, which is why a lot of times we talk about selling in all that we're doing here on LinkedIn, whether you are a sales by profession, whether you're a thought leader, it doesn't really matter. We're all selling something, brand, thoughts, it doesn't matter. That being said, I feel like that leadership is the same, right? We are all in our space, whatever that space is. We are establishing ourselves as leaders here on LinkedIn as the go-to person to have a discussion with, whether they are coming to you to talk about leadership, me about sales, Nikki Estes about marketing. It doesn't really matter. We're establishing ourselves as leaders on LinkedIn. Fair assessment?
Very much, very much. I don't know if you or the audience are fans of Daniel Pink. He's a fantastic author, wrote many books, including Drive. And one of the things that he speaks about is that we're all in the people business, regardless of what we are. You could be a lawyer, you could be a salesman, a marketer. We all are working with people. So in order to be effective at what we do, right, we need to understand who is our audience, because whether or not we're selling the product or we're selling our thought leadership and our services, like me as a coach, or right, or frankly, we're just selling our idea so that we can get funding, so that we can get resources and budget. We need to understand, what does the audience need to hear? How do I communicate my idea effectively in a way that they're going to hear me and find value in what I'm selling?
So my next question was going to be, so how do we take that same mentality about leadership and leverage that here on LinkedIn to our benefit? But what I just heard you say without me having to ask is, it's really about when we're creating our content, whether it's actual posting or it's live streams, or you're focused more on commenting and your commenting strategy. It is really about what is my audience? Who are the people that I am engaging with? What do they want to hear? And how do I communicate that effectively as a leader in my space? Summarize well, do you think?
Yeah, 100%. And thank you. That was a great reframe. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you have to put yourselves in their shoes. So what's in it for them?
Correct.
So if you're writing content, if you're writing a post, doing a video, just ask yourself, what is it that they are looking to learn so that they are better at what they do? And how can you leverage your knowledge, your professional skills, your background to deliver that insight? And I think that's what's great about LinkedIn, that it gives you the ability, right, whether you're a great writer or a speaker and you can do videos or LinkedIn Lives here, if you're a great person who can have a great conversation. It's about leverage the platform that works for you authentically. And as you mentioned, Denise, understand who is your audience and how you can convey something of value to them. Because you want them to have like one action, one takeaway that they can do so that they can see that what you're selling works and they can keep coming back to you.
Awesome. Okay. So I'd like to take this time to kind of summarize our conversation, both on the just overall topic of leadership and then as it relates to LinkedIn. And then I'd love to get your one takeaway. If no one else listened to any of our summary or the content to get us to that summary, what is the one takeaway you'd want to give? So let me summarize first and make sure that I heard accurately for anyone who's listening, whether you're live or on Team Replay. So my understanding of our conversation really, or my takeaway from this conversation around leadership in general is this. Leadership today is going to continue to evolve, especially as we embark on 2026, and more importantly, because of all the introduction of all these new technologies. And the way that we are going to stand out as leaders is by making sure that we understand our team, what they need, how to support them, and by listening, trying to solve the problems, and really just getting the friction out of the way. Now, I took a lot more of what you said and summarized in my own terms, but I think I summarized it in a way that I think the listener out here should be able to understand, that I think it is really about trying to solve problems and listening, actively listening, being curious, and trying to solve the problem so that your teams can be as successful as possible. So that was a lot, Jenny. Was there anything you would add to that or correct me on?
No, that's fantastic. I think we both identified there's a friction, something that is preventing you from moving forward. So try to uncover, again, elevate your self-awareness. What is getting in the way for you to act? And then look to address that. And maybe create a small experiments, small actions that are easy to do and can give you feedback so that you can create momentum and continue to kind of work on that. And part of that is kind of my coaching approach, right? It's about helping a leader identify what is getting in the way for them or their teams to move forward. And I would say, again, the one thing that I would say, that was kind of my recap, but the one action I would challenge everyone to do is basically just start, right? Take a step. Don't be inactive. Take a step forward towards your goal. I think, as you mentioned, Denise, being active in LinkedIn is a great way for them to start, because in the future, we have to build a brand that speaks for us, whether it is so that we can be more successful at the company where we are, or basically to get us to where we're going next. And for that, if they're able to integrate skills that are relevant, like AI, into their brand, the leadership brand, that is what's going to help them be relevant in the future.
Agreed. I love that. I will say in our summary, in our short little conversation specifically about LinkedIn, the summary, I think that the takeaways that I think are important, just based on what you and I talked about, was really centered around just know your audience and really try to, when you're creating your content, again, it doesn't have to be posting, it doesn't have to be a live stream, it can even be in your commenting strategy. It doesn't matter what type of content you're generating. It's really just making sure that it's relevant for your audience, so that you ask yourself what's in it for them when you're creating the content, so that you know that you're speaking to them. Would you agree with that?
Yes, 100%. Well said.
Awesome. All right. So I would challenge everyone today to do two things. One is, I would look at, as leaders today outside of LinkedIn, I would challenge everyone to really do a self-assessment and determine what key areas do you think you might be your weakest in. And I would challenge you to reach out to Jenny, ask her, go find her and ask her what you could do to improve. Or if you don't know how to self-assess, reach out to someone like Jenny so that she can help you figure out what you might need to improve on. Because look, we have to be doing our best and putting our best foot forward every single day. And the only way we can do that is if we understand where our areas of improvement are, and also knowing where our strengths are. And if you can't do that on your own, it's okay. Jenny's out there. So Jenny, how do we find you if we
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. So if anybody out there who wants to start, I have free resource that I will offer, which is an ebook on personal branding and self-promotion that helps you identify, again, kind of what is getting in the way, what is the one thing that you want to communicate, and in terms of your values, your skills, so that you can, as Denise mentioned, just get started, right? Get started with the comments, get started with later on with the post, slowly building up your confidence, and that so that you're able to, again, convey your expertise. So again, you can find me on LinkedIn and Jenny Fernandez, or in my website, jennyfernandez.com, and you can download my free book. So thank you so much for everyone out there, and please do connect with me on LinkedIn.
Yes, I'm super excited that you were here. This has been a wealth of knowledge. I think on the challenge on the LinkedIn side, I would just take what Jenny just said, just start. That's been a resonating theme throughout 2025 this year. It's been just start. Don't stand in the sidelines. Don't worry about being perfect. Don't let fear get in the way. Just start. When you start creating content, you will evolve, and what you're doing today will look very different 6 months from now, but that's okay. That's because we're getting better, we're adapting, and we're understanding what people want, what resonates with people, and what they want to hear from us. So I want to thank you, Jenny, for being here today. I'm super excited that you were. This is a great way to start to close out 2025. So I'm super excited that you, again, graced us with your presence as such a powerhouse woman. I want to thank our sponsors again, all things related to marketing, Market Me More. Sales is Cellivators, and those that are making an impact, all top voices unite. For those of you that were out there specifically, we saw Mamie, and again, I hope I pronounced your name accurately. If not, I do so apologize. But we had Mamie, we had Melanie, we had Gino. I know we had various others that just didn't comment, but we see you. We know you're out there. So thank you to all of you guys as well. For those that might be tuning in on Team Replay, thank you for being here. Also, I want to wish everyone a happy hump day. I don't actually know if we're doing next week, but if we, regardless of whether we are or not, next week is the week of Christmas. So I want to be sure that I mention to everyone that I wish everyone a happy holiday. Want to be politically correct, right? And religiously correct. Happy holidays to everyone. Jenny, thank you very much. Have a great, happy hump day to everyone today. And we'll see you in our next episode of Blue TV Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.